Wonder Woman.
What? Damn it, you just screwed me up. Welcome, Amazonian princesses, to Geek Salad's retro movie reviews.
Wait, that was Black Panther, but it's also Wonder Woman.
All right. Can I get through the goddamn intro first?
No.
Welcome, Amazonian princesses, to Geek Salad's retro movie reviews from the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And as you can tell, I'm not in the Geek Salad studio. I'm actually, I don't know even looking at the camera, by the way, so I apologize. The lens is somewhere over here.
Yeah.
I'm actually using my work iPad to do this. I'm allowed.
Which means it sucks.
Well, you know what? It's free. It's free tech.
Yeah.
So yes, I am actually away on business this week, and this is kind of our trial for us being able to do these when I'm away, because I travel quite a bit now. We'll see how this works. Hopefully it works well. But yes, if you haven't gotten it already, we are reviewing 2017's Wonder Woman. This is Black Panther. This is Wakanda Forever. This is Wonder Woman.
Is it claws out as well? No, wait,
yes.
no.
Well, no. T'Challa.
T'Challa.
T'Challa's claws are out. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But yes, no. With Diana Prince. Yes. It's up here. Because then she can do the cool fucking things here. Wonder Woman. The world is waiting here for you. Okay, so this one is widely considered to be the best of the DCEU. In mine, and I know, Mike, your personal opinion, second.
Yeah.
It's a solid.
Oh, it is. It was the first really good one for us.
It's the one that broke the streak, and that streak was the bad streak of DC movies. So
bad or mediocre at best.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, Wonder Woman. It was the strongest hit at the time. It had legs, which is something you cannot say really about any of the DCEU up to that point.
And it was the first superhero movie to star a female superhero.
True. DC did beat Marvel to that punch.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that they didn't also experience all the other fun bullshit that comes with having a woman leading. Oh my God, my dick fell off. There's a woman in this movie.
Oh no.
Oh, my pearls. I feel the need to clutch them.
My masculinity is severed a hit. I can't. I must make fun of women.
How can I make do with 8 superhero movies involving men in the year 2017? I'm due to what the fuck?
I don't know.
Seriously, I'm living off of road food, folks. So I apologize. I've already had like 2 hotel beers. I have a Pepsi. I barely drink soda anymore, but I have a Pepsi in the fridge right now. I'm like, this is not my element. So,
and I have iced tea mixed with frozen tundra.
Ooh.
Glacier. Yeah, it's very good actually.
Is that Life Water?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So yes, no, I
vitamin water actually.
If I felt like paying for this myself, I could get one of these lovely $4 bottles of Smart Water or Life Water. There is no, God damn it, I can't figure out the cameras. There is no vowels in the word water.
Yeah, you can buy one of those at like Walmart for like $1.50.
$1.50, exactly. I can't wait for this to also show up on our smart TV tile, which is like me holding up the water bottle. Like So yes, Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Let's start with we both saw this in the movie theater, right?
Yeah.
And I also saw this. The first time I saw this, I did bring my daughter, who was 9 at the time, and she absolutely loved it. In fact, when we went to go back to rewatch it, she watched it with me. She really loved it. My son, on the other hand, was just like, he was waiting for something to happen. And I think one of the first positive I'm going to take away from this movie is this movie there are long patches of time before anything really happens, but you don't quite notice.
Oh yeah.
They arrive in London at I think the 40-minute mark. They spent a lot more time in Themyscira than I thought they did. I really thought that was like 20 minutes, and it turns out nope, that's like 35 minutes of it. And
I mean,
talking about sex on a boat for 5 minutes.
The first real action sequence is really not until like halfway through the second act.
Yeah. Oh, it is late.
Yeah.
It is the most iconic scene.
Yes.
The
It is. I would say for me, it is my favorite scene in the entire movie.
It may be my favorite scene in the entire DCEU.
Ooh, that's a high bar.
It
Well,
is.
it's not.
Well,
It's not that high
okay.
bar.
Let's look at it this way. Okay, we've been using. We did this last week with Justice League. The kind of the bar is the Avengers 360 rotation shot, where you get the full team, you get that big moment, you get that swell in the Alan Silvestri score, that ba 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 ba. That is an iconic image.
Yes.
Okay, so with Wonder Woman going into no man's land, that is an iconic image.
Yes.
Now,
Yes, it is.
think back. Okay, so the four movies that preceded it. Okay, what is the most iconic image of Man of Steel?
I probably.
I really want to say it's that meme that people make where he's like, after he snaps Zod's neck, but I know that's not really it.
I mean, maybe the shot of him shirtless on the him shirtless. Period. Henry Cavill is not a bad looking man.
I do declare.
Yeah, but not him on the oil rig, holding up the stanchion with the fire behind him.
I don't really know if that's iconic. It's a decent shot, and it's, for lack of a better term, it's a beefcake shot.
Yeah,
that's really all it is. It's a beefcake shot.
Yeah.
I mean, they did do that one scene which really appeared a lot in the trailer with the kid with the cape doing the Superman pose. That was supposed to be on Clark. I mean, the most iconic scene in that entire movie is when he flies for the first time.
Yeah, okay, I'll buy that. Yeah,
but even still, it's kind of choppy and broken up because he's learning to fly.
Yeah,
and he's just learning to fly. And then BVS, most iconic scene in that one.
Probably the standoff between Batman and Superman on the rooftop.
Yeah.
With Batman in the armor staring up at Superman floating above him. I would say that, as far as iconic shots, that's probably going to be the best for that movie.
Do you bleed? No, actually, that was said earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's essentially that scene. Suicide Squad. The most iconic shot in that entire movie. I don't know because I'm really trying to purge it. I don't have any more liquor in the house, so I can't. But can you think of an iconic shot in Suicide Squad?
Probably Harley Quinn walking around in her baby girl shirt.
Oh yeah, the "You Don't Own Me."
Yeah, with the bat on her shoulders.
No, it's the white stripes. It's the white stripes thing.
Yeah.
The prison yard. Right. And again, I'm not trying to compare this to the MCU, but there's tons of iconic shots in all of these movies. I mean, the Avengers one comes to mind, but I mean, you think about all of those shots, the lineup of the two teams in Civil War.
I mean, Thor, when he finally wields his hammer against Destroyer.
Yeah.
He's come back to life, and he's got all his armor come back. That's an iconic shot.
Right. The myriad of shots in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Guardians. Even the shot where they're in the Reaver's ship, and they got those uniforms on, and they're doing the slow-mo walk to Cherry Bomb, and Rocket's adjusting his crotch. That is actually it's shown whenever you see Guardians of the Galaxy, you see that shot.
Yeah.
But back to Wonder Woman. That is the money shot of this entire movie. The
Absolutely.
Movie fails, or essentially lives or dies off of that scene.
And it lives.
It absolutely lives. It's not overdone. It's believable. It's very much a believable scene, for a superhero movie about World War I, where someone walks into no man's land and is literally is using his shield to hold back machine gun fire.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, beyond that, just that shot though, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is absolutely fantastic. She owns that role to a T.
She does. I heard it said though this isn't a star-making performance only because her star-making performance was when she showed up in Batman versus Superman, and as unnecessary as having Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman, in Batman versus Superman, because let's be honest, she didn't really move the plot all that much. It was a star-making performance for her. She's easily the best thing in that movie. And oh my god, can you imagine if they actually had the wherewithal to not blow their wad and reveal that like a year and a half before the movie's released? Can you imagine?
That is a marketing blunder of the epic proportion.
Right. Well, how awesome would it be if you did not know that Wonder Woman was going to be in that shot? I mean, remember how much we lost our minds when we found out that Howard the freaking Duck was at the back of, the back end of Guardians of the Galaxy?
You let him lick your face? Gross.
Gross.
Voiced by Seth Green?
Yeah, exactly. And I just noticed I'm looking at the camera right now. I'm touching my face right now, which in this climate I'm not supposed to be doing, but I can't help it. I'm gonna wash my hands after I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be doing that.
No, I know, exactly. It's really terrible. Fortunately, I've got the headphones in my ears, so I can't pick in my ears right now, which is great. So you can. But yeah, she really does this, and it's interesting too because, all right. So I'm going to just preface this with my son is 6, going on 7. Didn't quite get the need for the accent, and I'm like, she needs to have that accent.
Yeah,
she's from a Greek. She's essentially from a Greek Isle. She needs to have that accent. Not so much to promote the otherness, but it is an otherness.
And it kind of
not from this. She's not from not really from our world, really, but not from our.
I mean, it kind of gives her a little bit more exotic flavor.
Exactly, which at least gets some of the pervs going on that one. But my son didn't quite understand that. And if you think about it too, think about how Wonder Woman has been portrayed prior in cartoons, on television with Linda Carter, even, she's always an American. She's essentially wearing the American flag as panties. Yeah. So I did like that. I did like that she's more of a world citizen as opposed to just yet another American god.
Right.
Which I really enjoyed. Chris Pine is fantastic in this movie.
Yeah, and their relationship, I thought, was definitely one of the strongest points of this movie.
I really like that, and I've been a fan of Chris Pine since Star Trek.
Yeah, I agree.
And I really was hoping that he would kind of go on to bigger and better, and fortunately, he's doing this. It's kind of sad because it really is a sidekick role, but I really enjoy what he's doing with it.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
And like the wrap up, like their closing moments together, I thought was easily the strongest moment of the third act.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the.
Yeah.
I think the setup for Themyscira itself was a great setup. I always said that if a Wonder Woman movie was going to succeed, it needed to succeed in the manner of Thor. And I think they did a very good job with that. I think they did a really good job, considering you'd already been introduced to the character, which hadn't been with Thor. I did like that you were given the backstory. You were given mythology very early on.
Yeah.
And then let the story build from there, as opposed to her just adventuring. Yeah. And then maybe sometime around the end of the second act, beginning of the third act, you get her origin story, which does not make any sense.
No. I'm glad they did it the way they did it. And you know what? It may be a while till you get to the first kind of action beat, but it's kind of necessary in building the mythology around Wonder Woman and Themyscira, and kind of establishing the world that she's going into.
Yes, absolutely. Diane Kruger and Robin Wright are they're so good.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny, Robin Wright is Princess Buttercup, and you don't ever need to remind yourself who Robin Wright is. Diane Kruger took me a few minutes to realize who she was.
Who is she?
From Gladiator.
Okay, I've seen the movie once.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's done other stuff, obviously, but it was really nice to see her in that, and just the whole Amazon work culture, the training, and the fact that this is how they have dictated their existence. They are there to protect. I mean, later we find out they'll protect that stupid mother box, but
yeah, okay,
God, the movie was already in production, so I mean, how are they gonna know?
yeah. And Connie Nielsen is Hippolyta too.
That's who I was thinking of, Connie Nielsen, not Diane Kruger. Diane Kruger is a completely different actress. So
okay,
sorry. Oops.
Thank you,
Diane
Wikipedia.
Kruger was in Glorious Bastards. So
okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I really love the Amazonian culture, and I did love watching when the German army happens upon Themyscira, which I got a gripe about that, but I'm going to give it a second, okay? I want to talk about what's good about the movie first.
Okay.
I love that they show up, they got their guns, and all of a sudden, here come these women, these 6-foot-tall women, rappelling with bows and friggin' arrows and taking them out. Now, obviously, they're not bulletproof. They sustain heavy losses, but there's that one scene with Robin Wright where, like, the three German soldiers look at her, and all they see is her with those 3 arrows in, just let to loose, and just all 3 of them just hit him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
You don't mess with the Amazons.
Right. So here's my gripe. This protective cloud, this Wakandan-esque cloud that they have, that should be a lot harder, at least at like water level, to permeate. I can understand a plane coming through the air. I can understand maybe if a sub gets through, but the guy literally sticks his face into it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, so what happens? It's clear sailing until dawn, gents. Wait a second. Oh, there's an arrow in my thorax. I'm dead.
Yeah, okay. I mean, there are some plot holes that actually
This is by no means a perfect movie. We said that about Shazam, and that's like our favorite DC movie.
Yeah.
I really loved Etta Candy.
Yes, I agree. She was, I mean, she was obviously the kind of comic relief, but she was necessary as that role, and she was really, really good in that role.
I would have really loved to have seen more of her palling around with Diana, only because, like, in the early 40s comic books, she was like her constant companion. The name Etta Candy, because she's overweight.
Yeah.
Get it? Etta Candy. This is back also when they were like super racist.
Yeah.
So, I know a comic book in the 1940s being super racist. I can't believe it.
Yeah. What was that? Egg Foo?
I don't remember. I just remember the Green Lantern had a sidekick named Pie Face.
Oh.
Because he had a friend who was an Eskimo, like an Eskimo child, and he was like, called them, you remind me of an Eskimo pie. I'm gonna call you Pie Face. Thanks, you're fucking racist.
Yeah, I know Wonder Woman had like a giant egg, a giant, obviously stereotypically Asian egg with the buck teeth and the slanty eyes, and that was a villain. Yeah, so
greatest generation, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest generation.
Yeah.
But I would really like to see more of that. In fact, if you watch, there is a prologue on the DVD, Blu-ray, and on the digital copies of it that should have been like an end credit sequence, but it does go longer than I think an end credit sequence should. That shows that after everything is all said and done, the other 3 guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, whose names, unfortunately. I remember Charlie, and I only remember him because he was Spud in Train Spotting. And I remember Spud because he shit the bed, and then all of a sudden, he's just trying to clean it up, and people, like, his girlfriend's family just mowing down on British beans. It's really kind of a nasty scene, but I remember Spud. But she's actually getting that group together for a mission, and there's been this guy that just keeps bothering Charlie in the pub, and she takes him out.
Nice.
And it shows how tough she is. And that would have been, if they had been cut down, it would have been a really good deleted, not so much a deleted scene, but an end credit sequence.
Yeah, the only problem with having that as an end credit sequence, it would kind of suggest that the sequel would be still back set in that time period.
That's why they cut. I think it's another reason why they cut it.
Yeah.
I'll be 100% honest with you. I really think that they did not expect this to do as well as it did.
No, absolutely. Well, if they had, then they would have signed Patty Jenkins onto multiple films instead of, dickering about, how much do we want to pay her for a sequel?
January 1st, 2017. In your release slate, you've got Wonder Woman and you've got Justice League coming out in the same year. Mike, January 1st, 2017. Which movie makes more money?
I'm thinking with Justice League.
Yeah, me too. It obviously didn't happen. I also think too they were still kind of like kicking themselves about the success of it because it took them forever to re-sign Patty Jenkins.
Yeah,
who does a fantastic job in this movie.
Absolutely.
It's almost like they've got a director that understood that you can have a serious movie and still inject levity into it.
The hell you say?
Instead of everybody just being their sad self. You got me on my worst day.
Yeah, we haven't seen you any other day from you.
No, but she does a fantastic job. But it took them fucking forever to sign her.
Yeah.
To a sequel.
Yeah.
And
I'm
actually.
And kudos to her for holding out for as long, because she was like, "Okay, now you want to sign me? Good, more money, please, because I earned it."
Was she the one who was originally attached to Thor: The Dark World?
I know she was attached to something around. Give me a second. I'm looking it up here.
No, that's fine. I'll continue talking to the audience.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey.
Yes. Yeah. Took me all too long. In October 2011, she was hired to direct Thor: The Dark World, but left the project after less than 2 months over creative differences.
Okay. And I can understand that, which is kind of ironic too when you tie back to what I just said about Wonder Woman needed to be Thor.
Yeah.
The Wonder Woman movie needed to be the Branagh Thor. I can understand that. I mean, it's.
You know what? I prefer Wonder Woman over Thor: The Dark World.
I do too. Do too. I think that it was a good mix of things. She understood the character, and I think at this point too. I don't want to say that Kismet played anything to do with it, but the fact that the DCEU really needed to fucking win.
Yeah. If Wonder Woman had not succeeded and then Justice League did what it did, I don't know if we would have gotten Shazam. I think they might.
We probably wouldn't have. We would have still gotten Aquaman because it was in heavy pre-production by the time Wonder Woman had come out, or it already started filming.
Yeah.
I honestly think it already started filming, and we're going to revisit the DCEU because I think this is our last one. I don't know. We can continue because we don't have anything on the slate till April, I think.
Yeah.
April's Disney month, so we could probably finish this up in the month. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
And this movie Patty Jenkins does a very good job with this movie.
Yeah.
With that said, let's talk about what doesn't work about this movie. I'm not going to go with the big one first. I'm actually going to go a little lower on the totem pole, one you don't hear a lot about. The special effects in this movie, for some odd reason, for a 3-year-old movie, do not hold up. There is a lot of back projection on here, which there was a scene of Diana as a child where she almost fell off that ledge that looks bad. It doesn't look seamless. And it looks like rear projection. Obviously, you don't want to put a child in danger, but there's that. There's a lot of the only time the special effects really hold up well is that no man's land scene.
I will say the scene where Wonder Woman and Steve are in the boat. it kind of looks like they're filming it on a soundstage, which they probably were.
They definitely were. Oh, you're
Yeah.
kidding me? They definitely were. Do you think they went to? You think they bombed out a village in France just to?
I'm talking when they leave Themyscira and they're sailing to England.
Right.
You know, the sky just looks. It looks like it was done on a soundstage.
Yeah. Well, there's. Oh God, London in general.
Yeah.
Was. It looked like one of those things where when you watch behind the scenes and you're watching like the digital build of all the different layers show up.
Yeah.
When they're sailing, when they're getting tugged in to London, that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. I mean, kind of amazing because this movie did have a budget of 120 to 150 million.
Yeah, but again, we're talking. I question the Warner Brothers VFX house.
Yeah.
Can you really name a DCEU movie with a special effects look really crisp? I mean, I'm talking like really crisp, and I understand. Okay, there are points in the MCU where the special effects don't look great. The rhinos in Black Panther is a that's the go-to. The rhinos in Black Panther do not look good at all.
Actually, the rhinos in Black Panther and the fight between Black Panther and Killmonger in the suits. There are definitely moments where I'm like, could have used a little bit more time to cook.
But then you got something like Thanos.
Yes.
It looks fantastic. A lot of the digitally enhanced suits, Spider-Man suits, entirely CG.
Yeah.
Stuff like that looks good. But with this movie, it's almost like the money of this budget can only be stretched so far.
Yeah.
Which is weird because you really didn't have name actors in here. Yeah, I mean, obviously, yes, you had Gal Gadot, still reasonable newcomer. I don't think Chris Pine was pulling in. He wasn't pulling in big bucks for this.
I would say he probably had the biggest name out of anybody in this movie to do that, though.
Oh, that I'll agree with. But yeah, it's just, again, this is just you're spending this kind of money and your special effects look like that.
Yeah.
I mean, on the cameras.
Yeah, there's some good moments, but there are some definite moments where you got to squint.
Yeah, exactly, and it doesn't. It's weird because I remember like seeing the theater and they looked okay. At least this one, these didn't stand. I mean, these don't stand out nearly as badly as the Justice League.
No.
But you're sitting at home, and for some odd reason, that smaller screen. It just, I don't know if it's just the HD. I actually had like that. It was like that soap opera mode that they put on the TVs. I had that turned off.
Yeah. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I actually don't mind it. I like it, but my wife hates it, so we don't watch it.
I agree with Autumn.
Okay, good. What else? What else does not work about this movie?
Well, are we going to go to the third act yet?
No, I have one other.
Okay.
The villains in this movie are ridiculous.
Well, that's what I meant with it by the third act.
Well, no. I'm not even talking about that one. I'm talking about Danny Houston and Dr. Poison.
Yeah.
There are points when you are supposed to take them seriously. And that all ends the second she's essentially, it feels like she's giving him emerald nitrate poppers. It's like, we're going to a party tonight. I'm horny.
Yeah.
Those are ridiculous. There's that scene where you've got all the German generals who are going to sign the peace accord. Mm-hmm. And they roll that poison bomb in there. And they just start giggling like children. And I'm just like, okay, I'm supposed to take either of you seriously?
Yeah. Yeah. Those two, because of the main villain in the third act, those two always just kind of drift to the side, and rightfully so. They're not memorable. They're memorable, but not in the good ways.
Hashtag DC has a villain problem.
which is sad
Yeah.
because they have some really solid villains too.
They have some great villains, and unfortunately, they're almost all in Batman's gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's only so much you can take Kaiser Hulk seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about it. And
David
I
Thewlis.
made this. All right, it's the entire third act. The entire third act of this movie falls off the rails so hard. There's the major issue with this movie is it does all these amazing flips through almost 2 hours worth of stuff, and then they can't fucking stick the landing.
Yeah, it kind of breaks a leg a little bit.
It does. It does. It just doesn't look good.
I mean, you know, like I said, there are moments in the third act that are really, really good. All the moments between Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman are so good. Their chemistry is so strong.
Right.
But whenever the camera is not on one of those two, you're like, I want to be back on those two.
Right, because that's the scene. What works in that scene is when there's that big explosion and Diana goes through that beloved war trope where there's such a loud explosion she can't hear anything, and Steve is talking to her, and then they go back and they revisit it, where you hear what he has to say to her.
Yeah,
and it's like, wow, that's great, that's cathartic. It just feels like a good scene. And then Ares.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can take these, like, they're monologuing. Just like, you know, what Syndrome told you not to do in The Incredibles. You taught me monologuing, you sly dog.
I'm going to explain all my plans to you, and then I should tie you up and leave you to die.
Yes.
Basically.
When we start reviewing Bond movies and then we talk about Moonraker, then
Yeah.
God, it'll be November, won't it? Now it'll be November.
Yeah, now it's November.
Shit. I felt so bad for Daniel Craig having to host SNL and being like, oh wait, my movie just got pushed back. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's too much CG going on to tell the story in the third act. Like the three sidekicks, Charlie and company. Ooh, we're gonna sneak. Great. Kind of don't care at this point.
Yeah.
What happened to Dr. Poison too? Because like she's there, then her plastered jaw like flies away, and then Ares makes an example of her, and then she just vanishes. Like, did she escape? Is she gonna come back in Wonder Woman 84?
I sincerely hope not.
I don't think so, but
no.
What do I know?
Well, I don't think David Thewlis will be back. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean the reveal was you know what, I will give him. I didn't really see it. I got hints that something was like I knew there was something. There was some twist coming. Yeah, and I had suspicions about where it was coming. But I thought the twist was well done when it was revealed. But then it just started. He started monologuing. I'm like, oh, okay. So now we're just going to finger, mustache twisting villain mode.
I think for me, it's like one of those things where yes, there's this twist. It's laying in wait. But when she fought Danny Houston's character and she beat him, I was like, that's too easy.
Yeah.
That's too easy. Okay, where's the twist? You got me. Where is it?
Yeah.
And it really it does hurt the movie because again, it's that monologuing, it's that exactly. Oh, you only thought your plan was going to work. Little did you know. Let me tell you the story now. Okay, I got 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Guess what? Zeus had sex with a woman. Yeah, tell us something we didn't know.
Seriously, yeah. I mean, all in all, I really like this. Oh, I have one other pet peeve. That fucking theme.
Oh.
It's a carryover. It's a carryover from BVS. So this is Junkie XL.
And I didn't like it in BVS either.
I didn't like it. It's anachronistic to the character. It's anachronistic to the time period.
Yeah.
And is only there to the only time you ever really feel like Snyder's fingers in the mix here are some of the hand-to-hand combat scenes. And I had to explain to my children what ramping was. Ramping is it's for the early aughts. Isn't something that we should be talking about in the 2010s, 2020s. It's a trope that needs to go away in movies. Because
you mean pretty much every other shot in the 300?
Yeah, well,
jumping with the spear to the side, jumping with the sword to the side.
It only goes regular time when I'm piercing his flesh. It's so tired, and this movie is above that. At least it should be above that. But with that said, it's like that theme is the ramping of the musical portion of this.
Yeah.
I'll be 100% honest with you. I have not been thrilled with a lot of the scores in the DCEU. There are moments.
Yeah. I was glad to hear that they pretty much dumped that Junkie XL theme for the majority of Justice League. I think we might have heard elements of it once.
You heard elements of it once, and that's because Danny Elfman wanted to play cute. Because there's also a little bit of the Williams Superman score and a little bit of his own Batman in there as well. But they're little hints, and it really is. You got to pay attention to them.
I'm just hoping that they don't bring it back for Wonder Woman 84. Please no.
Who the hell knows? I'm really curious. I think it's James Newton Howard that did the score for that.
Give me a sec.
Look that up. Yes. I don't know who's doing the score for Wonder Woman 84. I could look that up while you're looking up the Wonder Woman thing.
Well, I'm looking it up from Wonder Woman 84 here.
Okay, look up Wonder Woman.
Music on 84 is Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer's. Oh, okay. So it's not the same person then, because
Wonder Woman was Rupert Gregson Williams.
Okay, Rupert Gregson Williams. Of course it was. He did The Crown. He did Aquaman. I'm just looking at other movies he did. I thought he did other stuff. I thought he did something I actually liked. Not seeing anything really.
Oh wait, he did Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
Oh, that's where I recognize his work from. He also did a ton of Adam Sandler movies.
Yes, he did.
But so Hans Zimmer's doing this one.
Yes.
Oh boy.
I like Zimmer. I really do
like Zimmer, and I like Zimmer to a point. Zimmer has a very bad habit of repeating himself. Yeah.
Zimmer's still got some of the best, the best animated score I've ever heard in my life, which is Lion King.
Yep. Okay. Fair enough. I'm a Giacchino guy myself, but that's just.
Hey, I love Giacchino, but nothing's beating that score for me.
We're not nerding out over music right now. So that was Wonder Woman. Are we leaving anything else off, Mike, or is that?
Was there a post-credit scene?
There was not.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, there wasn't. I told my kids there wasn't, so I'm not gonna make a liar out of myself to my kids.
Okay. Cool.
All right. There's quite a bit more wrong with this movie, I think, than people want to admit, but it doesn't make it a terrible movie. This movie is still a good, very good, solid movie, and it sits atop a mountain of bad, misguided, mediocre, and in some cases, wretched abominations. Suicide Squad.
As far as DCEU, this is definitely my second favorite. Not a knock on it. It is fantastic. Just I think the third act of Shazam was stronger than the third act of this one.
I agree. It's also, there's a lot more, I don't say connective tissue, but I just get connected more with Shazam by the third act. because they made fun of a lot of like the stuff that we complained about in Wonder Woman, the monologuing. You know, I can't hear you. You're like a mile away from it.
They'd like that joke a lot.
I love that joke. But you know, Wonder Woman is still a solid movie.
Absolutely.
This, I will say this though, it doesn't hold up to a lot of repeat viewings. I enjoyed it this time. This might be the third or fourth time I've seen it. But I can see the more you watch that, the more the mind starts to work and the mind starts to scrutinize a little more.
Okay.
Again, it's way better than Justice League or way better than BVS. It is much better than Man of Steel. It seemed to have a point. People talk like normal people, and people are doing rational things and not being like, should I let those kids' dad die?
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
So that was Wonder Woman.
Yay.
So if you, what do you think of Wonder Woman? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What were your thoughts on that third act? We want to know. Please leave a civil comment below in the comment section. Don't forget this video a big, still figuring out where this camera is, big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check that podcast out at geeksalad.podbean.com. We're also available on the Podbean app, which you can just download at either iTunes or the Android Marketplace. We're also available on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Music, and iHeartRadio, as well as iTunes. And we're also available, our audio, as well as these movie reviews are available right here on our YouTube channel. And if you want to follow us on our social media accounts, we are on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. So, until next time, from Syracuse, I'm Andy.
And from Massachusetts, I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
And broadcast, yeah.